Hey, what's up guys? I am Not Banana, and in this video we're going to be going over a build guide for Prismatic Warlock that's going to allow you to do a decent amount of damage in any situation, while also just having some good survivability and some amazing ability spam. So if this helps you out, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscription. This build is going to be very based on Strand and Threadlings, because Strand and Threadlings are pretty broken when combined with the new raid exotic. So what we're going to be running is Needle Storm. We're also going to be running Arcane Needle and Threadling Grenade. So right now, immediately, we have 3 Strand abilities, which does mean that you're not going to be getting Transcendence a lot with this build. But frankly, Transcendence just kind of adds a little bit of downtime to this build, because a lot of the build is just based on spamming these Threadling Grenades as much as possible. And popping Transcendence means that you're not going to have access to that Threadling Grenade anymore, which isn't going to be super nice for the loop that we're running anyway. So it doesn't really matter that we're running only darkness abilities. It should be fine. Aspect wise, we are running Feed the Void so that we can get Devour, and then we are running Weaver's Call, which is newly buffed in final shape here, and it's going to have the chance to spawn a perched Threadling whenever you kill something with Strand damage, and we are going to use this to our advantage. Fragment wise, we are running Mending so that our grenades cure us. We are running Bravery so that we can get Unraveling rounds. We are running Purpose because that means we're going to get Woven Mail. We are running Hope because our class ability with Weaver's Call is going to spawn a bunch of those Threadlings in, and it's going to have the chance to proc Devour whenever you kill something with those Threadlings. So Hope is very good. And then we are running Balance so that we can rapidly defeat targets with Darkness energy and get more grenade energy, because grenades are the name of the game with this build. For the artifact, we're not running anything that's super weird or anything. We're not running anything that's going to get us Transcendence super often, so I'm not running Transference. I am running Prismatic Transfer as the choice here, since I'm not really running Void damage on weakened targets here, and I'm not using a sword in the build, so Shield Crush with Prismatic Transfer seems like the play. Shield Crush especially, since we are running Woven Mail, and we're going to be running Radiant with Radiant Orbs, so that means that we're going to be getting that grenade and melee recharge plus damage, so that should be pretty good. The other important ones in here would be Threaded Blast and the Winning Hand perk, because we are going to be running a weapon that has Dealer's Choice, so these are going to be super good. Also, Overcharged Armory is going to be useful since we are running a Dealer's Choice weapon. This just makes sure that in that harder content, your machine gun is always going to be overcharged. One of the hardest parts to get of this build right here is going to be my primary weapon, which is Euphony. This is the brand new raid exotic. If you don't have access to this, I'm sure that you could make something like a normal Strand, like a scatter signal from last season work out here. But Euphony is able to make a lot of usage of the Threadling spam that we're doing with its Spindle perk, which means that Threadling damage increases the weapon's damage. So any Threadlings that we are spawning in are going to give us a stacking buff up to 25x, where we are going to deal a lot more damage with Euphony. It's going to be competitive with heavy weapons in the primary slot. This weapon is disgustingly good, and building around it with the Threadling spam is going to be amazing. Our secondary weapon, honestly, does not matter that much. I'm barely running this. I have Zauli's Bane on. You could run No Hesitation here and just have a support weapon in that slot. You could probably run literally whatever you want in your secondary slot, and it would probably work. Our last item here is going to be the new machine gun, the Pro Memoria from the Pale Heart, and there's going to be 2 roles that I think are pretty damn good on this. I currently am running Reconstruction with Desperate Measures. Desperate Measures being here because I can just spam abilities, and that's the goal of the build, so why not run the damage buff that's based off of spamming abilities? But in the first column, you can run Reconstruction like a lot of people do on every single weapon, but you could also run Demolitionist. The reason that I'm not currently running Demolitionist here is because I feel like it might honestly be a little bit overkill to have that much stuff based on your grenade recharge. I feel like you should be able to charge your grenade pretty fast just with Devour and with the other item that I'm about to show here. But you could run Demolitionist Desperate Measures, you could run Reconstruction Desperate Measures. Either one is going to make this a very good weapon. It's going to be able to get a lot of kills, and the Pro Memoria is probably going to be the main thing that you're holding in your hands whenever you're using this build. The thing that's going to make this build really shine and work, though, is going to be the exotic class item that I'm running, which is going to be RNG dependent to get this roll. But if you get Spirit of Osmiomancy and Spirit of Verity, it is going to be very, very good on this build. Osmiomancy gloves are going to make it so your grenades recharge quicker on hits. If you throw a Threadling grenade, you should get about 50% of your grenade back if all 3 of the Threadlings hit an enemy. That means that you're going to be able to chain these a lot, because if you remember, we are running Devour, we are running a Fragment to regen grenades, we are running possibly Demolitionist on our machine gun. This means that you're spamming grenades very, very, very often with the Spirit of Osmiomancy, and then combining that with Spirit of Verity is just chef's kiss beautiful here, because weapon final blows with a damage type matching our grenade are going to grant a stacking damage bonus, which means that whenever we are killing something with our machine gun, we are stacking grenade damage. Whenever we are stacking grenade damage, we are spawning Threadlings, which means that we are getting more Euphony damage, which means we're getting more Threadlings spawned, which means we're getting more Euphony damage, which is just an insane gameplay loop of chucking grenades, killing guys with a buffed Pro Memoria or a buffed Euphony, and then throwing more grenades right after, because with Devour and with our Fragment setup, we should be spamming these as much as possible. When it comes to mods, I'm not running anything complex here. This is a very simple mod setup, I would say. I'm running Ashes to Assets since we're spamming grenades, Heavy Ammo Finder because we love finding heavy ammo, and then Harmonic Siphon since we're running double strand weapons. It feels like you should definitely be running a siphon here to make a bunch of orbs. We're also going to build into orbs with firepower on our gloves because firepower, we're spamming grenades, it just works. Momentum transfer means that we're going to charge our melee off of our grenade, which is going to be pretty useful since we are spamming grenades. So you want to get that melee up and get those unraveling rounds for your weapons to increase your damage a little bit. And then I'm running fastball here. You don't need fastball, but I like it here. The grenade distance is always useful to run. In my chest plate, I'm just running some reserves and 1 resist. You could change this to 2 resists and a reserve. You could swap to resists and just have 3 reserves on before you rally. It's completely up to you here, but I'm just running harmonic reserves because, as I said, we're running double weapon with Strand, and that just means that we are going to be able to get a lot more ammo in both of our guns, which will be super useful. In my legs, right now I'm running Innervation, Recuperation, and 1 Strand weapon surge. I think you could change out Innervation or Recuperation, depending on which one you don't like as much, for another Strand surge if you really wanted to. I think that Innervation is very useful because it helps loop the build, and we're doing a lot of ways of getting orbs, whether that be with the siphon, with the firepower, or in my class item, I'm also running Reaper. So Innervation is going to add even more grenade gen to an already grenade spammy build, which should be pretty useful. But you can kind of mix and match this as you want. Just run probably 1 of the pickups off of orbs and either 2 surges or another pickup off orb thing. It should be pretty simple. And the last thing that we're running in the class item is going to be Bomber, which is going to reduce grenade cooldown on class ability. Reaper, which is going to give us an orb of power after our class ability usage, so that also matches. And then Powerful Attraction is a super, super good mod that I feel like not enough people use, which is going to collect orbs of power whenever you activate your class ability. That's why I really like Recuperation with this, because if I drop some orbs nearby and I need to heal up, I can just pop my Phoenix Dive, which is already going to heal me a little bit, but you're going to be picking up those orbs just by Phoenix diving down, which should mean that you get a decent amount of grenade energy and a decent amount of healing just off of the orb pickup. So that is why I am running Powerful Attraction rather than something like Time Dilation. I was running this build for a bit in Overthrow, and it was absolutely bodying stuff, and then I tried it out in a Legend campaign mission, which I felt like was a little bit more of a harder area to test it in, and it was doing absolutely fantastic in there as well. I think the biggest thing is to make sure that you have Devour going into a fight before you start throwing your grenades. You can get Devour off of your Phoenix Dives or your melees whenever you're using that. I think the biggest thing to remember is that your Phoenix Dive and the Threadlings that spawns do actually proc Devour, so make sure you use that to your advantage. and just using the machine gun and spamming a bunch of Threadlings keeps you at a very high Spindle number. I'd just be playing around, just killing guys, and then I would swap to Euphony to kill one of like the bigger ultra bosses or something that's around, and I would notice that I'm already at Spindle times 25, which meant that I didn't even need to pop a super in order to stack it up even more. Your super is great at stacking up the Threadling damage for Euphony if you are at a low number. So you can super throw a grenade. You should be at somewhere around times 10 plus, which should mean that your damage on Euphony is much better. But even without the buffs from Spindle, Euphony is a fantastic weapon that is able to kill a lot of things very easily. And combine that with Unraveling Rounds, combine that with the rest of the build, this should mean that you are a ad-killing, boss-killing machine that is getting Devour procs left and right and unraveling a lot of the room. That's going to be it for this video. I hope this build is fun for you guys. I hope you try it out. This is a very enjoyable build for me. I felt like it was absolutely smoking any content that I was doing. I've been having a lot of fun with Prismatic Warlock. I feel like there's a lot of good options. Let me know if you want to see another build. I do have a Song of Flame build in mind that I could make a video on, but that's going to be it for this one. Hope it helps you out. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace.
Strong enough to do this alone.
Unfortunately, Zavala forgot that when he left without me. But that's why I'm here, to remind him.